Hi guys, I recently introduced behavior driven development or BDD discipline to my newbie agile team as most of my team members were not very familiar with this approach. I created this presentation. Today I'm going to talk through the same presentation. So anyone who's just getting started with BDD can definitely benefit from it. I promise to keep it short and to the point. Let's begin. This is the agenda for today. BDD introduction. What is BDD? What is not BDD? A quick walkthrough of how BDD works, some examples, and concluding it with discussion on the technique that can be used in BDD. So, what is not BDD? Uh, the fact of the matter is that what a lot of people think about BDD, they think about automated testing or automated acceptance testing. They think about words like cucumber, JBehave. Uh, well, that's not what really BDD is. It's not all about automation. You don't have to use cucumber to get the real benefits from BDD. Uh, it's not even a testing framework that allows you only to automate tests. So, what is BDD then? Uh, the primary purpose of BDD methodology is nothing but to improve communication among the stakeholders of the project. So, that each feature is correctly understood by all members of the team before that actual development starts. So collaboration comes first in BDD, then comes automation. Uh, BDD, the focus actually is um, are we building the right software rather than figuring out we build the software right. So when people ask me what BDD is, for me it's having conversations with domain experts to gain shared understanding of the desired behavior and discover unknown things we did not know or things we knew but we were not sure. So how to communicate? We call it the three amigos. So who are these three amigos? It's the product owner or the business analyst, the tester, and the developer. The power of three. So I believe most of us know that the development process involves many people, as we can see, uh, the key parties being developers, testers, and the business analysts. So if they do not use a common communication framework, business requirements are and test suites will become unmaintainable over time. So what is the need of the hour? It's a common language framework should be adopted to eliminate the chance of confusion among cross-functional team members. The behavior-driven development practice can achieve this and much more to accelerate the software development and the testing process. So, how do these people talk to each other? They converse in scenarios. More on scenarios in the upcoming slide. But just to conclude this slide, the key focus of BDD is specifying system behavior. Behavior is how user wants the application to behave. When the development is behavior driven, you always start with the piece of functionality that's most important to the user. I consider this phase as taking the developer hat off and putting the developer hat on. Once you have specified what the user needs, you can put the developer hat back on and implement your specification. How it works. It all starts with the stakeholder and the product owner shifting how the relationship is with one another. In a BDD process, the stakeholder and the product owner isn't telling each other to do something. They are actually starting off and they are talking about the same thing. That is what the business needs. So it start off a collaboration phase. They are starting to talk what they need rather than one person just telling another one, go, hey, do this. So what happens next is that the product owner takes that whatever they talked about and he or she brings it to a collaboration space, the three amigos session with the developer and with the tester, so that they can start talking about okay, what is it we are actually going to be developing here. So in a three amigos session, the PO presents a problem to solve to the team. To illustrate this feature, PO walks through a couple of concrete examples. He explains why a user might want this feature and what it allows user to do. Um, and also lists down some of the key business rules and constraints. The team members then builds up their understanding together by asking questions about the examples, what if, what else, or the business rules. So that means, and this helps them to come up with potential solutions. The developer will be thinking of technical constraints and possible solutions, and the tester will be thinking of test cases or testability concerns. So when they are done with this session again, they all they are all together in one area. They are not siloed here. When they are collaborating together, after they are done with the collaboration, the goal is to produce requirements that are defined in English format. This is what we call scenarios. Scenarios are driven from the examples they were talking about. So you will hear the word given, when, then, well, given, then, when format is a Gherkin style syntax of creating these scenarios. That's actually what goes into the structure of a scenario. And so out of these scenarios, this is where the automation testing comes in. So out of the scenario, the tester can, can use those scenarios as the basis of their test, and the developer can use those scenarios for the basis of their automated test. And once these automated tests are driven through, they are ran, they are passing, they are failing, or whatever, the automated tests, the reports that they generate are reporting back against the scenario that they are testing against. So some of you, how can we automate? We don't have the tools. So again, don't worry about the automation piece. They will come. Just first get started with the three amigo process. Start that collaboration, and I guarantee you, the finished product is going to be a lot better than what a traditional software process would have given an outcome for. Let us try to understand BDD scenarios development with an example. The, this is the behavior of some front-end devs. This is what happens when you are at a service counter, someone brings back their item and asks for a refund. Really simple. In BDD, you will notice the use of these three words, given, when, then. Uh, these three elements actually help to describe the behavior of the system using context, actions, and outcomes. Uh, this is the template that is commonly used in BDD. Given a context, something that has already happened, we don't care and about how how it happened. We don't even care how we got to that stage. It just happened. When an event happens, then an outcome should occur. And then we can use this to describe any kind of behavior. One thing you notice here, the header scenario. So the scenario is customer has their receipt. All BTP scenarios should be given a header which accurately describes the scenario. So you are interested in. You may have a few scenarios to assist your engineers, QA team, and without headers, things can get messy, to be honest. So this is an example. Given customer has purchased a kettle and has receipt number 115578 and receipt 115578 is at $10. When we scan the receipt, then the screen should show the list of items. When we select the kettle and we refund it and it scans customer credit card, then customer should be refunded $10. So if you notice, looks very detailed. Uh, we have one rule in BTT which is very well understood. When you are doing something, you do not refer to the UI. You do not refer to the text boxes, button clicks. This doesn't refer to the UI either, but it is still far too detailed. So some domains it's okay to write detailed scenarios. Domains that are very well understood, like this, like in this typical scenario or in this typical situation, it's a legal industry. Funds refund, it's very well understood. So what would be a good scenario? So let's look into this example. Given the customer has purchased a kettle for $10 and they have their receipt, when the sales assistant processes the fund, then the stock inventory for kettle is incremented by 1 and the customer card is credited by $10. Really simple. So is this the only outcome that matters? The refunded money should be deducted from your account. So think of the stakeholders involved. Sales assistant is a stakeholder, but bank is also a stakeholder. So the question is, should the stock count be in the same scenario as the refunding of the money? Or how about the deducting of the bank account? Should that be part of the same scenario? So what if you do not make them part of the same scenario? What is going to happen? Free money, maybe? Incorrect stock position? And you can keep going. So what if the catalyst faulty? Maybe a faulty should be benefited. I hope I made my point. If you remember from the last to last slide, I discussed a three amigo session. So this is a great technique for three amigo collaboration. It's called example mapping approach. It efficiently identifies root for acceptance criteria, behavior examples, open questions. Uh, folks, we all know writing good specifications is difficult. They are often vague and open to individual interpretations, which result, of course, in client disappointment. Or they may be too specific or technical, so only the developers can understand. Documenting specification examples are considered to be a very powerful tool for documenting requirements clearly and concisely. So this is what this tool is all about. How can you use this technique then? So let's call it a step zero. So which is a preparation for this meeting. You need to choose a facilitator, someone that needs to facilitate this discussion. I suggest it should not be a PO. Uh, Some of you may ask, why a facilitator? So, facilitator is supposed to guide the discussion. It's going to be the one who's going to be asking some questions, moderating stops. Um, Once you have a facilitator picked, then you need to pick your guidelines. So, choose a theme that you can use to order the questions. Sequencing typically is like you start like asking, what do you do first? Uh, so you will have your a user story on your index card, uh, but make sure that your notes are very visible during the discussion. Story for you, story point we usually use the yellow index cards. Then you write your business rules or your acceptance criteria on blue index cards. For each business rule, I highly recommend writing examples of desired and undesired behavior on green index cards. These become your scenarios. Uh, Stop the discussion uh, while the rule or examples are captured. This is critical. The team should have to have an agreement on the captured result. They need to know exactly that this is really what they've been discussing about. Another important thing to notice is that examples are considered the magic mojo in BDD. So this is very critical. And then the questions. Questions are going to come up naturally. So uh, maybe there are situations where nobody in the room can answer them right now. So write them on red index cards. If something cannot be answered or needs further research or investigation, capture them. It helps to avoid rediscussing the same topic again and again. And I think another benefit is to have a clear list of topics that need to be investigated. So, last but not the least, who write the scenarios? So, in my opinion, it doesn't matter because as long as everyone is on the same page regarding the behavior of the system, I think we have achieved our objective of this discussion. How do you set the title for scenarios? Well, you never said it. You can start from the acceptance criteria. That will be the title of that scenarios. That's pretty much it, folks. I hope it was hopeful. Uh, until next time, uh, it's bye from my side.